Okay, we're back. Now, for your, I think it's your 18 by 15 foot rune. Yeah, 18.5 by 15. Um, okay, this part's a little bit trickier, but so you're going to want to take your 18.5. So make it like 18.8 or whatever. So you got a little bit extra to play with. Before you bring it in the room, you take your 18.5, and this carpet, I don't know if it has like a selvage edge or a scrim. It's like this stuff that's just hanging off the edge of the carpet that's not actually carpet. You would want to cut that off. And at that point, you would cut your seam on the seam side. Now, this piece here and your fill piece that's going to be used to do this area here that you don't have enough carpet for at the time, you want to take at least 2 inches off of the selvage edge. So you take your screwdriver and run down the row along the color. That color on that carpet looks like it's got brown loops and white loops. You want to try and recreate the seam in the carpet. And so after you run your row, you want to come in 2 inches, because sometimes the factory edge it jogs in and out and it's not very true. And so that edge is cut, okay? You get that in there the same way, fold it in half, bring it in. And then you bring it in the room. Once you bring it in the room and you get it laid out, this edge is cut for a seam. Then you measure off your wall to make sure you're equidistant so that the pieces in there are square. And you just want barely enough, because I don't know how much carpet you have to actually work with, but it might not be that much, since you said, I don't know if it's exactly 9 feet the other room, or if it's a little bit less, or if it's a little bit over. But you make sure that you have enough carpet. If you're the one that orders it, just make sure you actually have enough, because that's obviously a big deal. Okay, and so this is in place. You have your fill piece that's left on the roll, and whatever's left on the roll after you've taken your 18.5 and your 25 footer, that's all you have to work with your fill piece. And however long that piece is, whether it's 9.5 feet, then you could get your fill piece in 2 pieces. If it's 19 feet, then you got enough to get it in 1. Then you'd have just a big chunk left over. But anyway, I don't know how long your fill piece is going to be. So however long your fill piece is going to be is going to dictate how many pieces you got to put your fill piece in. And so what you want to do first is make sure that the direction of the fill piece is going the same direction as the piece that you put in there. If it unrolls this way, you don't want to unroll your fill piece this way, because there'll be a shading problem and pattern match and other stuff like that. So unroll it the same direction. Take your edge of your fill piece, just like you do with your main piece, and then butt it. If it only goes to here, that's okay. Just butt that and leave it. And do the same thing with however many pieces it takes. The butt seams that you're going to need for that, don't worry about that right now. Just get them cut and get them in place dry, and make sure that you have enough actual carpet. Now, when you're installing this piece, you take the dry laid fill piece out, and then you start by folding this back, glue the whole thing, even your fill piece area that's not there yet. Those pieces are going to be small enough for you to manage on your own while they're just in the glue. This piece is in there. Now before you flop this in, you've glued this up. This is all glued up. Let the glue tack up. Let it dry for a little bit if you have a fan, because it's less messy that way when you go to install it. Because when you're trying to work seams together and glue down carpet, first of all, it won't stick as well. Just let it air off a little bit. If you have a fan, throw a fan on it, or just give it like 15 minutes or something like that. And then you flop that in. If you have seam sealer, that's where you would apply seam sealer to your edge. If you don't, it's not that big of a deal. So you flop this in, seam seal if you have it, and then start placing your fill pieces in, one at a time. As you put the first one in, you put the second one in. Make sure you got like 2-3 inches of overlap for your end seams or butt seams, whatever you want to call it. So say you have 3 butt seams. This seam's all made up. You brought it together. You've already cut this piece. This seam is good to go here in the width. Right here, you're leaving those overlapped. You can't row cut those ones. So what you want to do is just use a utility knife with a brand new blade. Start from the wall and double cut through both layers for your end seams, all the way up until you get to the T-seam. And then pull the piece out that's on top. The other piece will be in the glue that's on the bottom. Pull that out real carefully, roll it up. You don't want to get glue all over yourself. And that's pretty much it. I mean, to get the seams together, the 3 foot piece here, it'll get stuck in the glue, but you'll be able to slide it. You'll be able to pressure fit the seam together. You want as little gaps in the seam as possible. You're supposed to use like a 75-pound roller to roll the carpet, but you don't need that. You can use, like, if you got a 2x4, just kind of take a 2x4 and slide it around all around the room so that there's direct transfer from the backing of the carpet to the glue. Trying to think if there's anything else. That's pretty much it, man. It's not that hard. And when you're cutting it in on the ends, just make sure you just carefully take your time. Use a sharp blade, because that loop carpet, if it's use a dull blade, that loop will actually pull, and that could potentially pull out into the field of the carpet. So just make sure you have sharp blades when you're cutting your seams, cutting in the carpet, doing anything like that. And I think that's it. I hope that helps, man. Sorry I can't be there. Take care.